Now, we are coming to a brief question answer part here. And there's one question for you, Peter. I think you've already touched that. From Federico Alcalde Burella, who asks, Dear Mr. Ray, how do you see the feasibility of the development of hydrogen as a driver for the development of wind energy in Australia?
Had I more time, I'm glad for the question. I had more time to cover other areas, I would have said that one of the foremost of the new developments that is taking place in Australia has been hydrogen. We go back a few years to the 2014, I think it was, year when the World Wind Energy Conference was scheduled to be held in Sydney, and that was to be back-to-back with a World Hydrogen Conference. And since that time, we've taken a very close interest in how hydrogen has been, the use of hydrogen and the creation of hydrogen has been coming to the fore. Tasmania is an ideal place for the development of hydrogen, and we've had a number of Japanese companies and others talking to our people here about the development. It may take place, it's already taking place, but it may on a substantial basis for export take place in several parts of Australia and possibly in New Zealand as well. Certainly hydrogen, I think, will play an extraordinarily important part in the future of renewable energy.
Thank you, Peter. Then let me go to the other questions that we've received here. There is one for Irfan Mirza. Irfan, are you still with us?
Yes, Stephen.
Briefly unmute yourself. Very good. The question is from Usman Farouk. There are several reservations regarding new renewable energy policy from the provincial governments. In this situation, do you foresee that the policy will go through the CCI as is, or will there be further changes in the policy document?
Yeah, I think this is a very good question, and the federal government is trying its level best that this policy will go through by settling these issues. There are basically chances are that they are going to settle outside the Council of Common Interest. This is basically the province of Sindh and province of KPK. Province of KPK, up till now, it seems that the their issues are going to be resolved very soon. And then before this COVID-19 pandemic, they have serious discussions with government of Sindh as well. So let's see how it goes. But federal government really want this policy to go through without going into another rigmarole.
Good. And then there are other questions which are a little bit related to that. But I think one aspect I would like to take up from Sheikh Muhammad Ali, who is asking, do you think any option for growth of off-grid wind?
Okay, in the recent years, like 3-4 years, one of the biggest installations we have seen are the off-grid solar installations in Pakistan. And this is because the overall reduction in the price in solar. So similar things can happen in some areas. Obviously, wind is not there like solar all over Pakistan. So there are certain areas like in Karachi or in certain areas of KPK. So I think there is definitely a possibility that, and what I'm trying to say is the policy might come or policy might not come. There is still a room for the development of these if these are economically feasible.
Actually, let me mention that here that we are actually discussing that as WWA to work on that on the off-grid sector in Pakistan. We started some discussions also with UNIDO to do something, but of course in that situation, now that we come back to the second key topic here, in the current situation with the Corona crisis, of course, we are not really able to do anything. So we hope that in the next couple of months, we will be able to take that up. So from my side, certainly an important topic. Thank you, Irfan. Then there is one question for Mr. Yu. Do we have Mr. Yu still here with us?
Yes, I'm here. Right.
Very good. There is a question for you from Mr. Atif Khan. Any estimate how much COVID-19 has impacted Chinese EPC contractors' ability to execute on time projects outside China? For example, in Pakistan, HydroChina is expected to execute 12 projects during the time frame May 2020 to August 2021.
Yeah, thanks for the question. I think so far we don't have very exact estimation for this EPC impact for the outside market of China. But to our understand, that's mainly decided by the destination market. For example, if the Pakistan market is okay enough for resumption of production or construction, then the Chinese company will be there. But so that's mainly decided for the destination. I think the most factors are coming from the quarantine measures for the workers. Yeah.
Good. I've seen one more question for you from Sheikh Mohammed Ali. Whether the force majeure clauses have been invoked in contracts by or involving the government of China, whether the government promulgated any law on this point. It's a quite legal question. I'm not sure whether I would be able to understand, but please.
Well, yeah, that's very a little bit legal and political. But I think it's much more business related and commercial. So so far we don't have seen any force majeure clauses how being invoked or applied in the real business connections. But we have foresee the risk of default of contracts, and we have already expressed this to the businesses and to the government. Yeah, if this continue, or if we don't have the postponement of the deadline requirements for the connect-created policies, so maybe there will be some default risks for the contracts. That will happen, and then maybe the force majeure clauses will be used. But that will be much more controversial. So we hope we couldn't see, we will not see that. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Then I have one question here to Professor Arakawa. Chichi, are you still with us?
Yes.
Yes, so there is one question from Tung Yuan Chong. To Arakawa-san, understand that there are a lot of plans for offshore. Any more potential long-term growth for onshore wind, in your opinion?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, we have so many potentials of onshore as well as offshore wind, but we have very strong regulation of the environmental impact assessment. So we need a lot of 4 or 5 years to be to build onshore wind farms. But anyway, we have the possibility. In future, we have the big grid systems and good acceptance of local people. We would like to start again the onshore wind. We have the similar possibility on onshore as well as on offshore.
Thank you. Thank you, Gigi. So the next question is for Jami Hussain. I think that will also be the last one. Then we continue with the next speaker. Jami, are you with us? Jami Hussain, are you still with us?
Can you hear me?
Yes. Good.
Okay.
Let me read. I think I will just combine those two questions. It's from Elizabeth Dijkstra McCarthy. Can you talk about the difference in policies between the competitive bidding and the policy which was preceded in India and the impact this has had? And then Fosan Wahid, can you please talk about the weighted average tariff comes out in a result of competitive bidding, and what was the average size of the project, average depth, tenure, etc.? And then thirdly, from Luigi Beneciamo, please, what about revamping and medium-sized wind turbines in Indian market? So if you can briefly answer those four.
Yeah, I had answered in private to them.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I just for everybody's benefit. So yeah, so before competitive bidding, we had a combination of incentives and policies. One was there was a feed-in tariff. So every state in India, they determined the feed-in tariff for wind, and this was based on a cost-plus approach and ensuring that there is some return to the investor in setting up the project. And the second question is about this weighted average cost of competitive bidding. So the competitive bidding is basically on the tariff that the IPP would like to operate his project, and this tariff, I would say weighted average, though I have not calculated, it could be around 2.6 per kilowatt hour, the weighted average tariff for the thing. The average size of the projects that go in for bidding, I have seen people winning something like 600 megawatt also, but average size may be something like 250 megawatt of a single project. What are the other questions?
There was the revamping.
Covering
small and medium-sized turbines in India.
The average size of turbines being installed in India is around 2 megawatt plus. So some people are also installing 3 megawatt wind turbines. So it ranges around 2.5, 3 megawatt.
Good. Good. Thank you very much, Chami. I think that concludes the first part of our webinar here. Now we have heard a lot from the kind of Eastern Hemisphere. Let's now move to Europe.